Why do you think he has the catheter? Do you think it's just like a general old man thing, or like there's something specifically wrong? Broke his penis? Happens to the best of us. You were right about the vetting, by the way. Is this real? Everyone must be seated in the bleachers. Soldiers sitting in the bleachers are to be fit and not look fat. Soldiers in the bleachers will not be allowed to have water, so they must make sure they hydrate properly before. No colored patches. If any soldiers have political views that are in opposition to the current administration, they don't want to be in the audience, they need to speak with their leadership and get swapped out. Basically, they don't want soldiers in the audience rolling their eyes or shake their head in disagreement. I have no idea if this is real, but I choose to believe that it is. What are you looking at, man? He's having a Biden moment.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a beautiful sight, and it's a beautiful sight to be with you in a place called Fort Bragg. Can you believe they changed that name in the last administration for a little bit? But we'll forget all about that. We're going to forget all about it. I want to just say God bless the U.S. Army and God bless the USA.
Brave.
Great place, great group. I want to thank so many incredible soldiers and paratroopers, pilots, warriors for that awesome display of pure, unrivaled American military might. I just saw something that was crazy. You don't want to mess. I've been saying a long time, we have the best. Nobody even comes close, but they just gave me a display that you might be lucky not to see it because it's a little scary. It was beautiful to watch. Let's hear it for the Army Special Operations and Command and the 82nd Airborne Division and the 18th Airborne Corps. What a show it was and what a show it continues to be. And Saturday is going to be a big day in Washington, D.C. You know, a lot of people said, we don't want to do that. I say, yeah, we do. We want to show off a little bit. You know, recently, other countries celebrated the victory of World War I. France was celebrating, really. They were all celebrating. The only one that doesn't celebrate is the USA, and we're the ones that won the war. Without us, you'd all be speaking German right now.
They want that, though.
Maybe a little Japanese thrown in. But we won the war. And we don't celebrate, but we're going to celebrate on Saturday, and we're going to celebrate from now on. We're going to celebrate our greatness, our achievements. This week we honor 250 years of valor and glory and triumph by the greatest fighting force ever to walk the face of the earth, the United States Army. For 2.5 centuries, our soldiers have marched into the raging fires of battle and obliterated America's enemies. There's never been anything like it. There's never been a force like this. And I rebuilt it. I gave you so much money for 4 years. It was crazy. And we just approved our largest budget for military operations, over $1 trillion. We've never even come close.
They are amped up back there.
But our army has smashed foreign empires, humbled kings, toppled tyrants, and hunted terrorist savages through the very gates of hell. Our soldiers do not rest until they win. You know that better than anybody. From June 1775 to June 2025, those foolish enough to challenge America's army have been met with unyielding strength, unbreakable spirit, and unstoppable, overwhelming force. Time and again, our enemies have learned that if you dare to threaten the American people, American soldier will chase you down, crush you, and cast you into oblivion. That's what happens, unfortunately. That's what happens. Doesn't sound very nice, but it's true, isn't it? The last sound you ever hear will be the chilling howl of Black Hawks in the dead of night, the thunderous boom of artillery fire, or the ferocious roar of a U.S. Army infantry brigade charging over the horizon. That brigade is going to charge like you've never seen before, and hopefully I can keep you out of that, but if I don't, you're ready. Is that right? If I can keep you out of it, if I keep you out of it, that's okay, but if we need it, you're ready. You know, it's called peace through strength, isn't it? Peace through strength. For our adversaries, there is no greater fear than the United States Army. They all fear us, and we have the greatest force anywhere on earth. You know, you read different stories that others are building and building and building. We have a force like no other. They said it would take 5 years to defeat ISIS. We did it in 4 weeks. 4 weeks. We let them go. Unlike other of your leaders, I let them go. And we had General Raisin Kane, who's now the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, because I liked him. He was a warrior. He was a great warrior. And now he's been rewarded for his incredible work. But they said it would take 5 years, and we did it in 4 weeks. Someday I'm going to ask him to explain that one to me. But it was the television generals that said that. The real generals got out and fought, and nobody fought like them ever. But for the American people, there's no greater pride, because you are the righteous sword of American justice and the ultimate shield of
I'm just waiting for him to mention
freedom.
LA.
This week we remember that we only have a country because we first had an army. The army was first. In fact, the army was even before the country. You know that, right? 1 year before the country. After 250 years, we still proudly declare that we are free because you are strong. You are so strong. We're safe because you are brave, and America's flag will never fall because America's army will never, ever fail. Never going to fail. Every branch of the armed forces has played a critical role in protecting our nation, but no one has done more fighting, bleeding, and winning than the U.S. Army. Nobody's done that. The Army has earned more combat medals and more battle ribbons than any other service, and 70% of all of the medals of honor. We give away medals of honor all the time at the White House to incredibly brave people, but you have 70% of them. Army soldiers, and especially our Army paratroopers, truly go all the way. You know that expression, all the way. It's one of your beautiful expressions. As President of the United States, let me express my undying gratitude to our nation for every soldier here today, for every veteran and their families, those incredible families that are with us and all across America, and for every patriot.
We really do need to, like, revoke democracy the next chance we get. We need reconstruction, the likes of which the world has never seen. I know this isn't new for me, but watching this and seeing this guy rile people up, like this guy, this like blob up on stage, this is what gets these hogs like shouting and jeering and stuff. The loudest applause you got from this crowd was when he said he didn't like DEI. Like, that's the kind of people we're dealing with. We're dealing with like animals, basically. If it's cruel to give them democracy, like you wouldn't let a dog choose what to eat. It would choose the chocolates, you know? Like they just shouldn't have a say in it. I'm sorry.
Who has worn the uniform over 250 years. Can you imagine that? We thank you from the absolute bottom of our hearts. Few places loom larger in Army lore than where we are gathered today. The one and only Fort Bragg. The one and only Fort Bragg. But remember, it was only that little brief moment that it wasn't called Fort Bragg. It was by the Biden administration, not Trump. I had nothing to do with it. We got it changed. We said, you know, I came here numerous times and everybody, they kept saying Fort Bragg, Fort Bragg. I said, you know, it's not the name, but then I was making a speech. I said, what do you think I should call this place? Call it Fort Bragg. I said, Fort Bragg, how you doing? We won a lot of battles from this place, and that's the way it is. It wasn't even close. When Pete and some of the generals came to see me, I said, not even close. Not even close. This is the home of the Green Berets.
What's he talking about? It was really dumb. Fort Bragg was a Confederate general, and then Biden renamed it Fort Liberty, and then when Trump won again, it got renamed Fort Bragg, but a different Bragg. I think a paratrooper. So they were like, yeah, liberal. We changed it back to Bragg, but not after the Confederate, which I don't understand at all, because like ideologically, the Republican Party has always been explicitly pro-Confederacy. So I don't know why they didn't just make it Braxton Bragg again, but instead now it's a different Bragg. I don't know.
the Sky Dragons, and the All-American 82nd Airborne. We know what 82nd Airborne Division. This is where the GIs who won the Second World War learned to pack their parachutes and push howitzers and go right into those C-47s with lots of arms and push them right out those big, beautiful doors and wield their bayonets and pry the enemy from the hedgerows of the French countryside. France needed us badly. We were there. A lot of people needed us badly. They still do, maybe worse than ever. It was here in the soil that the Army forged the medal that held strong at Bastogne. It was here the mighty paratroopers earned their wings before they rained down death from above to liberate Sicily, Normandy, and even the Netherlands. That's right. We saved the Netherlands. Every inch of this base is steeped in the legacy of those warriors who have said with pride, "Sir, I trained at Fort Bragg, sir." That was pretty cool. And that is why we restored the historic name of this very, very special place. I don't know if it could be the same place. Fort Bragg is in, that's the name. And Fort Bragg, it shall always remain. That's never going to be happening again. And for a little news for the fake news back there, the fake news, ladies and gentlemen, look at them all. Oh, yeah, what I have to put up with. Fake news. What I have to...
I know we're all pretty used to this, but I actually think it's bad that active duty soldiers are like jeering the media. I think that's a little bad, in my opinion, you know? Having the soldiers just be like the same as a rally crowd.
Put up with, but they're all right. They've been very nice today. They were impressed with that display, I can tell you that. I think it took them a little by surprise, but for a little breaking news, we are also going to be restoring the names to Fort Pickett, Fort Hood, Fort Gordon, Fort Rucker, Fort Polk, Fort A.P. Hill, and Fort Robert E. Lee.
So, a second ago, a few people in chat were saying the Republican Party isn't explicitly pro-Confederacy. Would any of you guys like to amend your statements or issue a retraction? Out of curiosity, I'm giving you the opportunity to stand up and prove you're better than I think you are. They love the Confederacy.
We won a lot of battles out of those forts. It's no time to change. And I'm superstitious, you know, I like to keep it going, right? I'm very superstitious. We want to keep it going. So that's a big story. We just announced that today to you for the first time. They said, why didn't you wait till Saturday? I said, I can't wait. I got to talk to my friends here today. This is a record crowd. You know, you never had a crowd this big. That's an honor. You think this crowd would have showed up for Biden? I don't think so. I don't think so.
It's an army base. They're required to be there.
I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I want to thank so many great leaders here today, including Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, who's been great. By the way, Pete, thank you. Great. And he went through the wars, you know? Pete went through the wars. He had through a very hostile group of people that I think really don't want to see America be great again, maybe, or something, but he persevered and he got there and he's doing a fantastic job. Great job, Pete. Thank you very much. Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Doug Collins, a fantastic man. Thank you, Doug. You're doing a great job. Doing a great, great job. Way, way up from the last administration, Veterans Administration. It's way up. You saw the recent poll. The people are happy. They weren't happy a couple of years ago. They were really happy 5 years ago. But it went downhill from there. We did so much. We got you medical. If you had to wait, if you had to delay at all, you go out to see a private doctor. We pay the bill. You take care of it. You don't wait for 6 months and end up getting very sick on something that could have been done with a little shot or a pill. We did that. Then they wanted to drop that. I said, we're not dropping it. But, Doug, I'm proud of you. I just heard some great things. Thank you very much. The Secretary of the Army, a really brilliant young guy, went to Yale, can't have everything. Top student, Dan Driscoll. Thank you. Thank you, Dan. And we have your senators, Senator Ted Budd and Senator Tom Tillis. Thank you, fellas. Congressman Richard Hudson, Pat Harrigan. Where's Pat? Pat? Good, Pat. You're doing great. You guys are amazing. And we have the big brass. General Andrew Pappas. General, thank you. Thank you, General. Doing a great job. General John Braja. John, thank you. Great job. Thank you for today, John. General Greg Anderson. Thank you. Thank you, Greg. Thank you. Sergeant Major of the Army, Michael Weimer. And before going further, I want to say a few words about the situation in Los Angeles, California. Have you heard of the place? Where I've deployed thousands of National Guard troops and hundreds of Marines to protect federal law enforcement from the attacks of a vicious and violent mob. And some of the radical left, they say, oh, that's not nice. Well, if we didn't do it, there wouldn't be a Los Angeles. It would be burning today, just like the houses were burning a number of months ago.
Are there any cities left in America, man? I feel like we should be out by now.
Generations of Army heroes did not shed their blood on distant shores only to watch our country be destroyed by invasion and third world lawlessness here at home, like is happening in California.
Jesus Christ.
As Commander-in-Chief, I will not let that happen. It's never going to happen. What you're witnessing in California is a full-blown assault on peace, on public order, and on national sovereignty carried out by rioters bearing foreign flags with the aim of continuing a foreign invasion of our country. We're not going to let that happen. Remember, millions of people were allowed to come into our country totally unchecked and unvetted by stupid people or radical left people or sick people. But regardless, open border policy, the dumbest policy yet. I would say even dumber than men playing in women's sports.
You just the perfect segue right there. Just a phenomenal, threaded it together beautifully. That's art.
Transgender for everyone.
They love that.
Even dumber than that, they're hurling bricks and...
Democrats lose to this, by the way. Democrats not only lost to this, they're still losing to this. We're 6 months in, and the Democrats are losing to this just as much as they were when they lost the election.
Blocks at law enforcement. Did you see they're breaking up the sidewalks and the curbs? Breaking it up with big, strong hammers. These guys are professionals. These are not amateurs. They're breaking it up because they took the bricks away from them. They came in with bricks, red bricks, that they could throw at our military and at the police in L.A., who are very good, but they weren't aggressive like our soldiers. Our soldiers really were aggressive, but they all worked together.
The soldiers haven't done anything. The National Guardsmen haven't done anything. It was all LAPD. The National Guardsmen haven't done anything yet.
But they came in with bricks, they were taken away, and they had hammers. Oh, wow, how did that happen? And they're pounding the sidewalk. I said, what the hell is he doing? And he's breaking it up and making it into concrete bombs in a way, and they're...
Yeah, sure, man.
Dropping them on our military. They're throwing them at our military. Pretty good arms they had, too. Hits guys right in the face. Big chunk of concrete, worse than a brick. They're taking them up to the bridges, and they're dropping them in the cars that are going by. These are animals. But they proudly carry the flags of other countries, but they don't carry the American flag. They only burn it.
Oh, he's watched my videos.
Did you see a lot of the flags being burned? They weren't being burned by people from our country or from people that love our country. People that burn the American flag should go to jail for 1 year. That's what they should be doing.
Yep.
1 year.
I also don't believe in the First Amendment. Be honest, should I be working on my Mandarin? I'm not gonna lie, dude. It does feel like the country's kind of cooked for a long time. Yeah. I don't really know what we're supposed to do about the Democrats being not just unproductive, but like actively, horrendously, at every opportunity, taking the worst stance possible. And the media being so complicit. You know, the media is so complicit.
And we'll see if we can get that done. We're going to try and get that done. We're working with some of your senators. I know Senator Josh Hawley is very much involved. And I know the two senators from here. I think you guys, are you guys in favor of it? Boy, would this be a bad time for them to say no. I got you. I got those 2 votes. The agitators are throwing firebombs, Molotov cocktails, lighting vehicles ablaze. You saw the cars that were burning, mobbing police officers and ICE officers who are the toughest people you'll ever meet, and they love our country. And they're getting really they want to stomp on them, but they're too tough. They don't allow it. And attempting to infiltrate and occupy federal buildings wearing armor and face shields. The best money can buy, somebody's financing it. We're going to find out through Pam Bondi. And
it's always Soros, it's always the Jews, et cetera, et cetera. When did they occupy a federal building? Has a federal building been I don't even know what he's referring to there.
Department of Justice, who it is, they're already on it. Who's financing all this equipment? Very professional. Under the Trump administration, this anarchy will not stand. We will not allow federal agents to be attacked, and we will not allow...
It's so crazy how now we know for a fact that Trump is incapable of lying. So what really happened is that Miller just sat him down and said all of this, and Trump's just repeating what he heard. It's crazy. He's actually like the most useful idiot ever. No one has ever been as useful as Trump. It's phenomenal.
Allow an American city to be invaded and conquered by a foreign enemy, and that's what they are. A lot of those people were let in here by the Biden administration. They just poured right in. They came from prisons, they came from jails from all over the world. They came from mental institutions. They were the leaders of gangs. They were drug lords.
More of a useful idiot than Hitler was? Hitler was way more in control of his regime than Trump. Look, I don't know how much you keep up with the day-to-day. As far as I'm concerned, Trump is literally not a decision maker in the White House. I fully believe that. I fully believe he's just like a grandpa that waddles around and like all of his grandkids are clamoring at his feet, trying to like win his approval and affection and give him like little bits of information to use or whatever. I do not think he's present at all. Every day he says or does something that indicates he's not paying attention to what's going on. He just repeats information that he's heard, you know? He gets his info from Fox News. He was like that in his first term too, you know? Like you could directly trace everything, all of his talking points at a press conference back to 1 hour ago what Fox and Friends was saying. Like it's a very, and he's only gotten more senile since then. They're making a cartoon program for daily briefings. Yeah, they literally cannot get him to listen to his briefings. You know, he's listened to fewer daily briefings than any president ever by a huge margin. He's shown up for less than half of them. Less than half. He literally just doesn't care. He'll show up sometimes and everyone knows afterwards he hasn't paid attention. They're trying to get at him in images. That's not a joke. He doesn't read. He doesn't listen. He's got a catheter in. No, he's not in the loop at all. And for that reason, he's not the real enemy. He's a symbol. He's a mascot, but he's not the actual enemy. Miller probably is. Symbols matter a lot, but he's not like making decisions.
Allowed to come into our country. Their countries threw them out. Their countries would bus them or drive them right to our border and say, go in there. You ever come back, we're going to kill you. And we got them, and we're getting them out of here.
Okay.
I want to applaud the courage and the strength of the incredible troops who are right now standing guard to protect federal property and personnel and uphold the supremacy of federal law. That's what they're doing. They're protecting our ICE agents. They're protecting...
So much for states' rights. Jesus Christ.
The police in Los Angeles. The head of the police in Los Angeles, a good man. I hear a good man, but he was actually saying we really did need this help. It had gotten away from them. It had long gotten away. and we gave it to them. Not only are these service members defending the honest citizens of California, they're also defending our republic itself. And they are heroes. They're in there, they're heroes. They're fighting for us. They're stopping an invasion just like you'd stop an invasion. The big difference is most of the time when you stop an invasion, they're wearing a uniform. In many ways, it's tougher when they're not wearing a uniform because you don't know exactly who they are. In Los Angeles, the governor of California, the mayor of Los Angeles, they're incompetent, and they paid troublemakers, agitators, and insurrectionists. They're engaged in this willful attempt to nullify federal law and aid the occupation of the city by criminal invaders.
Guys, I think that text we saw with the expectations for the people at Fort Bragg who are behind the podium, I think that text was completely free. I think that was true. You really think for an event like this they wouldn't pre-select to make sure the people behind the podium are ideologically in line? Absolutely. They're literally like cheering and booing on prompting. They've been given instructions. I see too many fat people. Well, that's just how life is these days, okay?
It is. They're invaders. No different. Their position is that the rioting will not stop unless ICE withdraws from Los Angeles and ceases the enforcement of federal immigration law. In other words, they came in here illegally. Many of them came out of prisons and jails, the most heinous people. They came from all over the world. They came from the Congo in Africa. They came from Asia. They came from the prisons of these places. They were put into the United States and allowed to stay here because we had a grossly president.
It keeps cutting out every few seconds.
Listened to whoever was operating the auto pen, and they allowed these people to stay. And by the way, I've known this guy for a long time. He was never the sharpest bulb.
Don't be surprised, by the way, if the white nationalist rhetoric gets a lot more pronounced soon. It's already extremely loud, but Stephen Miller lately has been tweeting very explicitly about it. Like a full, I think Charlie Kirk was as well, full ban on all third world immigration. We know exactly what they mean by that. Just this Monday, just yesterday, they rolled out the ban on immigration from a bunch of countries across, you know, Latin America, Africa, Asia. I think we can expect to see this ramp up significantly in the near future, you know?
But you know what he was? He wasn't a radical left lunatic. He never dreamt about open borders. He never said that when he was of sound mind, which actually was a very long time ago. So sad what they've done to our country. I will say that without question, however...
Just really quickly, because it's important to know where this stuff is coming from. It's essentially the only thing Stephen Miller is talking about. America was invaded by illegal aliens. Americans voted to end the invasion. Democrat rioters are waging violent insurrection to overturn the election result, continue the invasion. This is basically every tweet of his over the past week or so. He's been doing like a dozen of them a day. Everything is insurrection. This is the language of insurrection. Your lies continue to stoke violent insurrection. Insurrectionist migrant mobs. Everything's an insurrection except for January 6th. The future the Democrat Party offers America is to be, in every sense of the term, a third world nation. Like, it's pretty obvious what he's saying. And I say it's pretty obvious because, like, when I started my channel, the alt-right on YouTube was using exactly the same language to describe exactly the same thing. And Stephen Miller was watching those videos too. It's not like this motherfucker doesn't watch Sargon of Akkad. He's the most, alongside JD Vance, he's the most, like, obvious, I grew up on internet 4chan Nazi content of the bunch, you know? So, insurrection mob. He's arguing with Gavin Newsom, having fun. He believes in hereditary IQ and that IQ gives you a bigger dick. Let me guess, he thinks lower IQ gives you a bigger dick. And that explains him. Anyway, I don't know how open they're going to get with it. I don't know how explicit things are going to get, but I think you can reasonably assume Trump isn't a white nationalist. Trump is racist, okay? Trump wants Mexicans in America so that they can make the tacos and sweep the floors, you know? He wants Jews in America so they can run his books, you know? He's racist for sure, but it's not that kind of racism. White nationalism is a very specific kind of racism. Yeah, I don't know how much Trump is going to be an appropriate vehicle for this kind of rhetoric. Excerpt from an NYT article. Yeah, I think I read this on stream, but this one is particularly good, I think. Mr. Trump has said that if it was up to Mr. Miller, there would only be 100 million people in this country, and they would all look like Mr. Miller. Yeah, Trump said that. That's not attributed. That's just straight from him. Trump probably doesn't know enough of what he's saying to understand the implications of that, but, you know, Charlie Walsh and Posobiec tweeted out the exact same thing. Time to ban third world immigration, legal or illegal. We've reached our limit and we have huge cultural, educational, housing, financial, and essential services problems to fix now because of it. We need a net zero immigration moratorium with the ban on all third worlders. Yeah. Is Stephen Miller a Yarvanite? Stephen Miller is in that camp, but I think he's mostly of his own. Stephen Miller is a Nazi. I don't think he's like a stooge of a Silicon Valley billionaire. He might be on fine terms with some of them, though he hates Elon. But he's just a Nazi. It's not, you know, he has his own ideological grounding there, I guess. Miller's the worst. Yeah, he pretty much is. Well, anyway, yeah, you can expect this stuff to ramp up pretty rapidly. Any updates on the feud with Elon Musk? Elon and Musk and Trump have entered a steady truce. Elon has tentatively agreed to work further with the pedophile. Oh, did I say Elon and Musk? I'm tired. Elon and Trump. Anyway, we should probably finish this bit. At least this bit on the Los Angeles protests.
Are you seeing the financial numbers? We've now got the hottest country anywhere in the world. And 6 months ago, it was the coldest country. We're being laughed at all over the world. I was in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. We brought back $5.1 trillion into our country, and all three leaders, they're great leaders, all three said, you know,
is he done with the LA bit?
The big, beautiful bill. You've heard about it.
I think he is. I think he's talked about the LA bit. Okay, that's fine. We need to go actually go look at LA. Okay, what the f is going on?
European! Hey! You know what? Mexico's a great country. You should go back there if you like. You're not. It's okay.
We have one attention seeker here.
It's all right. YouTube.
This isn't even Los Angeles. This is Santa Ana, isn't it? You don't even know. You can't even tell the difference. You know how few tram lines there are left in Los Angeles?
I thought you came from Europe. I thought you came from Europe, bitch.
This guy is wide with pride, man. This guy stands the f up. Can you imagine trying to take this guy down? No shot. USA with its cookie-cutter cities? Wrong place to make that point, man. Santa Ana does not look like Los Angeles.
He didn't agree with our culture. You got it. He didn't agree with our culture. That's why we're the new fucking world.
I've been seeing for a long time. Seek the truth and keep the faith.
So hold on, I want to ask. No written records.
Remember how Trump was saying how aggressive the National Guardsman is? It's funny because, like, the Guardsmen are way the more chill than the police. The police have the mayor and the chief breathing down their necks, keep law and order, make us look good. The National Guardsmen here are just like, whatever. They're not attacking us. What are we gonna do? You know? We're not. I don't care.
No calendars, no domestic agriculture.
We had a calendar!
Listen to this stupid shit for a second. I have to go piss, okay? Evaluate the arguments. Use your debate training.
Yeah, from Michoacan, okay. So is Michoacan where the Mexica were located, the Aztecs? Yeah, so you're different. Oh, you're different. Oh, see, and now you guys like to trick us. You like to trick us. See, I know about Mexico, and I know. I am white, but I know actually more about Mexico than you. Yeah, you do. Well, why don't you answer the question? Why don't you answer some questions? You can hardly speak English. So I don't think you know. No, I know. What? No, you can't. I can't understand you. I don't understand you. It's like some weird language, some pigeon English.
That's what I hear. He's talking. He is sucking dick. Donald Trump's dick. That's what he's sucking.
Yeah, so there's more. Hey, have a good day, man. Go back to Mexico, bro. Go back to Mexico. This is our land. Go back to Mexico. Remember the Alamo.
I actually really like the cut of this camp collar shirt. I need to wear it more often. Why don't I wear it more often? Who the f cares about the Alamo? This is such a fake LARP. What are you talking? Nobody, dude, okay? I've known Texans. This is like a fake. He was talking about Aztecs while you peed? Okay.
See, that's the thing. There's just a couple white guys here. And look how upset you get. And yet we have to let in millions of you into our country. How is that fair? Hey, so aside from nachos, what has Mexico given this country? What have you invented? What have you given this country? What have you given?
He's so dysgenic, man. Look at him. Look at that face. Wait, it's that one guy from Channel 5 videos? He does look a little bit familiar. This one down here. Yeah.
In this country. You guys come.
And they don't like, you know, their parents don't like, but they spent 5 and 10 years to come through legally.
What was that? Wait, did I just... What the f*** is on this guy's arm?
We don't want it.
Who are from all kinds of countries.
We're being very clear. We don't want it.
He is like a hideous growth. Like a gigantic growth. Like a...
Cities in America anymore. We don't want it.
Who are from all kinds of countries.
We're being very clear. We don't want it anymore.
And they don't like, you know, their parents don't like, but they spent 5 and 10 years to come through legally.
Support who you support.
Yes.
So why do you have to degrade other people?
Why do they have to degrade us?
Well, I agree.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's
What
like...
the hell?
I'm not being rude to you.
No, I'm just engaging in a conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a veteran.
Yeah.
I fully support your right to be here. Okay? But what I don't like...
He has illegal muscles. They've immigrated into his upper arm.
And I'm a taxpayer, so I'm just making that clear.
Everybody pays taxes.
No, but I'm a taxpayer.
By the way, the right thing to do if you're holding a protest is to ignore people like this. All of them are grifters looking to get attention, either for their YouTube channel or Rumble or whatever, or they want you to punch them because then they can get a lot of attention off that, or, you know, sue you or whatever. They're always doing this outside the LA Convention Center, you know, all the God hates fags type shit. That's what they do. You just call them ugly.
Hey, I'm gonna clarify this again. You know, hey, that's all fine that you're veterans. I'm a taxpayer. Neither did you. So you fought a war for Israel. You know that, right? You didn't fight that war for me. You fought that war for Israel. You fought that war for Israel. That's fine. You fought a war for Israel, not me.
Oh, he's far right. That guy's a groiper. If you're on the right but anti-Israel, it's because you're a Nazi, yeah. You could figure the groiper thing anyway, because they all try to grow that mustache. They do! They do! There are so many, like, dorky little neo-Nazis in their 20s who grow, like, little mustaches, because they all want to look like, I don't know, Andrew Ryan or something. They all want to have that, like, you know, austere Ayn Rand protagonist look. They're all pedos too? Well, I already said groiper, didn't I?